Can you all see my screen? Animesh, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Animesh, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
That's good. So as I said, we will be, it's a very big chapter. We definitely cannot complete it today, neither we can complete it tomorrow. We will continue with it probably till the mid of September. So we are introducing you to a system. What is the system? The system is known as industry. Before I move on, let me ask you a question, a question which is also often asked in interview also. Do you know what is an industry and what is a company? Any guesses? What is an industry and what is a company? Any guesses, anyone? Animesh? Neha, do you know what is an industry and what is a company? Can you give me an example, any one of you? Which one, like say for instance, if I am talking about Bata, do you think it is an industry or is it a company? Any guesses?
Industry.
Bata is an industry. That's what you're saying, Neha?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what makes you think it is an industry?
So the industry which I think is that where production takes place.
Okay. Any other guesses, anyone? Neha says Bata is an industry. Anyone else? Do you agree or disagree with her and why? Anyone? Amanat?
It's company, sir. It's a manufacturer and it's sell. Industry is all about selling.
So according to you, Amanat, Bata is a company. That's what you're saying, Amanat?
Yes, sir.
And what is the industry then, Amanat?
Which makes product from the raw material.
Even Bata does that. It uses raw materials, red leather, makes the shoes.
It advertise also and sell.
Okay, you mean industry doesn't advertise or sell?
They directly sell to the companies which are specialized in selling them.
So industry compromises of different companies.
Who said that?
So it's Ankit.
Sorry, who is it?
So it's Ankit.
Okay, Ankit, can you give me an example and explain your point? Ankit, can you give us an example?
So Reliance is an industry.
Yes.
Which consists of many companies like Jio
Yes.
Life, Reliance Digital, and different companies.
Good. I sincerely appreciate Neha, your effort, Amanat and Ankit. But as usual, like I remember in my last classes also, it used to be those few good people who used to participate like Neha. And this time also I see the same. I don't know why you don't speak. You're in the third year and you'll be passing out soon. But as I said, I cannot force anyone to do anything. Anyhow, Neha, but I'm sorry, Bata is not an industry. Bata is a company. I go by what Ankit says is absolutely right. Industry comprises of company. We consider an industry which is related to similar production. Like Bata is a part of shoe industry, which is into manufacturing shoes, or say, for instance, if you consider, things like real estate is an industry. And there are companies like Sandeep G, Imami Real Estate, which are making houses. Or say, for instance, FMCG industry, first moving consumer goods, which includes your toothpaste, toothbrush, and everything. And there are companies like Hindustan Unilever Limited. There are companies like Reckitt Benckiser, which manufactures Dettol. Fine. So am I being able to make you understand what is industry? Industry comprises of companies which are into manufacturing similar type of product. Fine. Is it clear? Have I been able to make you understand, Amanat? Neha, is it clear? Shall I explain again?
No, sir.
Have you understood? Ankit, I believe you have understood. What about you, Bhaskar? Bujhate parlam? Bhaskar, have you understood? Bhaskar?
Yes, sir.
That's good. So with that notation, we start. The concept of industrial management. Industrial management is a field of commerce business administration, studies the structure organization of industrial companies. I repeat again, Industrial management as a field of commerce business administration studies the structure organization of industrial companies. Now, what I repeat, what do I mean by industrial companies? As I was telling you, all those companies which are related to similar type of businesses, like it can be computer software engineering, it can be manufacturing of apparel, it can be manufacturing of foods, it can be tourism industry, which is into travel and tourism, all this. So that's what we call by industrial companies. Could you guys see my screen? Is the screen visible? Bhaskar, তুমি দেখতে পাচ্ছ on the screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Good. Now, what do we mean by industrial company? We mean categorization of industrial companies fitted under such category. Fitting them in certain category enables to facilitate the tools of managing industry. This is exactly the purpose. Why do you think we need to classify them? Because to manage them, each tool has its own management. Like let me give you an example and establish my point. Let's consider media. You guys are aware about media, right? You will understand what is media. Bhaskar, BT? Media?
Yes, sir.
Media industry. Can you name me a company in media industry? Anyone? Bhaskar, BT?
NDTV.
Sorry?
NDTV, sir.
Absolutely, very good answer. Fine. So let's consider media industry and let's consider food as an industry. What if you have to tell me a difference, a very distinguished feature in these two industries? Vicky, can you answer? Vicky, can you hear my question? Is my question clear to you all? Did you guys get my question?
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir, can you please repeat once again?
Sure. I said, let us consider two industry. Fine. One I said is media, and the second is food industry. Fine. If you have to compare these two, right, what do you think in one very essential difference in their performance? The way they work, the way they manufacture. When I asked you the definition of industry, Neha said it's about production and manufacturing. I think the same definition, the same something was said by this gentleman also, Amanat. Fine, but then, yes, so if it's about manufacturing and production, in terms of manufacturing and production, what differences do you see in media industry and food industry?
So food industry produces food products, whereas media industry, they collect information from around the world.
No, I'm not talking about production, Neha. I'm sorry, you didn't get my question. I'm talking about in terms of the work. If you notice, Neha, in case of media, there is no fixed timing. 24/7 they are working, so the work pattern, the management has to be decided on a shift basis. It cannot be typically 9 to 6 job. Am I being able to make you understand? And the entire media industry runs accordingly. Whereas if you think of food, specifically for ice cream, these are perishable products. They are dependent a lot in logistic, transportation. Consider the last year, when the pandemic initially hit us. I mean, I'm talking about in way back in May, June, none of us were prepared with it. And lots of milk were going wastage because people didn't knew what to do, because to supply it from one sweet manufacturer to other sweet manufacturers is taking a hell lot of time because the transportation was closed. These are perishable goods. Am I being able to make you understand the importance of, because each industry is very, very different in its own way. Consider you guys, a civil engineer cannot do practical sitting at home. They're all practicals are field work. But you guys, computer software engineers, can at least computer science, sorry, can do their practicals at home as well. It can be done indoors. So am I being able to make you understand each industry has its uniqueness to work? And once you classify them, managing them becomes easier. To form them under a body, most of the industries comes under a government body where the government decides, okay, these are the rules which should be applicable. These are the rules which should not be applicable. Like if you consider in a nearby zone, tea industry is very, very happening. And in tea industry, the North Bengal, in collaboration with the TRA, Tea Research Association, which is the governing body in entire country, has certain rules which are applicable to the tea industry. Am I being able to make you understand this point to facilitate to the tools of managing in the industry? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's good, Neha. BT, have you understood? Shalini, have you understood? Shalini, is it clear? Miki bochate parlam?
Yes, sir.
That's good. So certain tools of management sciences applies for managing industry. Moving on. Okay, parameters tools applicable for industrial management. These are some tools that you need to remember, and this all in details will be discussed in chapter 4. However, it will not be taken care by me. This is the only mathematical part. It will be taken care by Joydeep sir, but we have time for that. That's chapter 4. First is decision matrix and decision tree. Decision tree, you should remember, we have studied that in economics, economic decision tree. However, you don't have details on that. Network models, you do have a detailed and entire chapter 4 is on this. By the way, do you guys have the syllabus with you? Do you want me to WhatsApp you the syllabus in the group? Robash, do you have this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we don't have the syllabus.
You don't have the syllabus. That's what you're saying, Robash?
Yes, sir.
No problem. I'll WhatsApp it to you. Maximum by tomorrow morning, I'll WhatsApp it to you. Fine. So this critical path method, these all are part of, let me see. Yes, these all are part of chapter 4. This one will be taken care by Joydeep sir. So program evaluation review technique. Then you have inventory models. Inventory models are very important. That do you remember what is inventory? Siddhant, do you remember? Robash, do you remember what is inventory? We have studied it in economics. In accounts, opening stock, closing stock, what is inventory? Siddhant, do you remember? Siddhant, am I audible to you? Abhishek, can you hear me? I'm seeing you after a long time. Can you hear me, Abhishek?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Any idea, Abhishek, what is inventory? Do you remember that? In accounts, we have studied it.
No, sir.
Sorry?
No, sir.
Okay, do you want me to explain you again what is inventory? Guys, shall I explain you once again what is inventory?
Yes, sir.
Okay, inventory is stock. I have told that when we were studying accounts as well. Stock is basically with anything and everything that a company is doing its business with. Like say for instance, if you are in manufacturing of cell phones, your Redmi or a Samsung, then the cell phone is your stock or inventory. If you are into manufacturing of foods, like the way I was giving the food industry as an example, then that food is your inventory. If you are, we took Bata as a company as an example. In case of Bata, the shoes, bags that they sell are their inventory. However, you have an entire chapter, and here also there's a bit of maths, inventory models. I'll be discussing that when we discuss chapter 3. Then you have managerial economics. Yes, a bit of economics will also come to manage an industry, because if you remember in the first class of your economics, I told you what is the definition of an industry. I said that, and sorry, economics. I said economics is about choices, and it's got to do with monetary and financial issues. And if it is got to do with monetary and financial issues, definitely we need to study that in industry itself, because without money, an organization cannot run. So if we have to move on to the next slide, let us just quickly recapitulate what are the 5 most essential tools that we need to study, as a decision making. First is decision matrix. Second is decision tree. Don't worry, you don't have any elaborative discussion on these 2. Third is network model, which is very important, and you have to do elaborative discussion. Fourth is an inventory model. Again, this is also an elaborative discussion, because couple of times, if you're not able to manage your models, your stock properly, you'll have to lose business. Now, are you guys, do you guys know, are you guys aware about catering industry? Do you understand the meaning of catering industry? Any one of you?
Yes, sir.
Abhishek or Pushpanjali, by any chance, are you familiar how they work? Or any one of you, are you aware what was happening with them during the pandemic? Anyone? Pushpanjali, anyone?
Which industry, sir?
Catering is like how, say for instance, there is a marriage is happening, so there are caterers who takes the order, they do the food, they organize the dinner, the buffet dinner and all that. The catering industry.
Yes.
In the pandemic,
Yes, sir.
in the pandemic, what was happening, they had a tough problem managing with this inventory or stock. Can you tell me why? Shall I explain my question again? Shall I repeat my question? Pushpanjali?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question is, during the pandemic, catering industry or catering companies had a big problem related to managing industry. Can you tell me why? Ankit, is my question audible? Ankit, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Ankit, I don't know, when I interacted with you in the first sem also, no, in your second year, I believe, that time also I always found you were not really very happy with my class. Today also your voice says so. I hope you're enjoying the class. Even if you're not, I don't have any choice. I have to take my class, Ankit. So Ankit, any idea what problem was this catering industry facing due to pandemic related to inventory?
That there were no functions during the pandemic.
Absolutely, you're right, Ankit. What was happening was, now that due to COVID, the government has put a lot of restrictions on more than 20 people in a gathering. So most of the time, the social gathering was stopped. Marriages were happening, only registry marriages. People have stopped doing, anniversary parties or birthday parties and all that. So one, two, they didn't have any business. ऊपर से क्या हुआ मान लीजिए like say for instance, let's go back and let's consider the time of February and March of 2021 when the second wave didn't hit us. So they got a booking for the month of March and accordingly they paid in advance. Say for instance 10 kilo आलू चाहिए तो इन्होंने advance booking भी कर दिया. अब क्या हुआ, due to the second wave hitting at us on April end onwards, most of the social gatherings were being cancelled. And the companies which paid them, or the families which paid them advance, was telling them, we want our money back. If they said, but we have already paid it to the vegetable dealers or something like that, they said, okay, then return us 50% money back. 50% money back means it's from their own pockets, it's a loss for them. Or जो आलू उन लोगों को लेना ही है because already that आलू dealer has booked it with them. Now, what do they do with those excess potatoes? They got nothing to do with those inventories because the marriage or the gathering is not at all happening. And then these are not something कि आप 1 साल 2 साल बाद use कर सकते हो. These are perishable goods, So inventory model become a very big challenging issue during the pandemic, and there are people who are coming out with brilliant solutions. In fact, developing software also which can make you predict whether if there is a pandemic, what will be the demand for agricultural product or agri-tech. So inventory models specifically for certain industries, like I was giving you an example of catering, become a big issue. So then the fifth one is managerial economics. Fine, with that we move on to the next slide. Defining now, finally coming to the end part of our day today. Defining industrial management. Industrial management is the combination of two words, industrial and management. Please keep in mind there are two things, industrial and management. Industry may be defined as the application of complex and sophisticated methods to produce goods and services. Here, Neha and yes, Neha, Ankit, and both of you were right. It's like producing of goods and services. Now to understand what is management and how exactly it's related to industry, let's put it to the food and beverage industry. The next time when you visit a shop, look closely at a bottle of Coke or Pepsi. think about the work that went into it. So in a bottle of Coke or Pepsi that you see, what are the things that have went into it? Fine. Pepsi bottle in front of you. Okay, let's consider, okay, what are the areas that you think people have got involved into this Coke and Pepsi manufacturing? Let's consider a bottle of Coke. How many industries do you think would have gone into it? Any guesses? Factory workers. There were factory workers who were manufacturing that bottle. Trucks who bought it in the store, from the factory to getting it in your hostel or in your house or in a college or in your shop. The trucks. Then there were employees, people who are working over there, working in the factory, employees. Okay. Then you have the bottle makers who makes the bottle, sells. Pepsi and Coke don't manufacture the bottle. Do you know that? The bottle is made by somebody else. Are you aware about it, Animesh? Are you aware about it, Animesh? You know about it, Animesh? Okay, so bottle makers, then from bottle makers, there are advertisers. Okay, but let me tell you, here is a very important point that I want to ask. When I was talking about advertising, I think Animesh said that, industries are not supposed to advertise. Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys agree, Amanat? Are industries not supposed to advertise?
Yes, sir, I agree.
Okay, according to you, industries are not supposed to advertise. That's what you're saying, right, Amanat?
Companies are supposed to do that.
Okay. Ankit, any guesses? Ankit, are industries supposed to advertise or they're not supposed to advertise?
So I think they can advertise.
They can advertise, Ankit, but usually they don't, unless and until they have to give a very, very strong message. Like, say, for instance, when I was just giving you the example of what happened to milk, last year. So much of milk went into wastage. Then the entire milk industry, people representing from milk and dairy farm, we mainly call it, they approached to the CM and requested them at least please allow some street shop to open so that this milk do not goes for wastage, and milk, because milk is a raw material for manufacturing of your sweets, So if the industry has to give a strong message, they often come together and that time they advertise. But otherwise, as Amanat rightly said, industries usually don't advertise. Companies advertise because they sell their product directly to customer, to people like you. Then there are printers when you pick up a Pepsi bottle, the way the Coke and Pepsi is written. So it's they are there also. So the reason behind giving you a Coke or a Pepsi example is to make you understand all industries are interrelated. No industries works in a vacuum. Coke and Pepsi will be brought under food and beverage industries. But see, under them, bottle makers are also there. Printers, printing and publishing houses are also interested. The reason behind telling you is to understand industrial management. We said first, what did we say? The definition, we say all related to same company. Then we give you an academic definition, which I said at the beginning of the class. I'll give you an academic definition. And it is like, which is related to a sophisticated way of production and manufacturing. Fine, But also understand one more thing. All these industries are interrelated, and that's where managing them within the industry and outside the industry also become very, very much important, right? Is it okay with all of you? Have you understood till here? Have
Yes,
you
sir.
understood? Any doubts, anyone? Any doubt?
Also.
Yes, sir, understood.
That's good.